on Track with Hyesha Barrett on Jumpstart from 8 to 9 a.m.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another Wellness Wednesday on Jumpstart. I'm your host Tuqa Lawati alongside life coach Hyesha Barrett.
Good morning everyone. Good morning Tuqa. It's been a couple of weeks.
Yes,
so I'm
it's been
glad to be back on with you.
Happy to have you back. So we'll be with you dear listeners from 8 to 9 a.m. WhatsApp is open at 72442-007. Again, that's 72442-007. So it's the last Wednesday of the month. And normally we have listeners' questions.
Actually, it's not the last Wednesday. Next Wednesday is the last Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Hence why the confusion, guys, because
yes.
it was meant to be listeners' questions. And I also thought about that. But then I thought this is not the last Wednesday of the month.
Yeah, it's the last show before you go on leave.
Exactly. And so I thought, you know what, let's just do another show on, talking about stuff rather than the questions. Though in hindsight, maybe we should have done the questions. But anyway, because we received 4 questions and maybe we can have time after the show to answer them. If not, I'll answer them off air.
Yeah, but we're accepting your questions on midlife crisis.
Yes.
We're going to talk
about
that
on
today.
Midlife crisis. Yes.
Yes. So, Hyesha, what do you have for us today?
Okay, so let's just talk about midlife crisis and crises. I thought we'll talk about this because it's the middle of the year. People are getting older.
Mm-hmm.
People are kind of struggling in many ways, shapes, or forms. And let's just discuss it. We had a show on this about a couple of years ago, and I thought let's rehash it and talk about it again.
Yeah.
So, what really is a midlife crisis? Right? It's like a transition.
Mm-hmm.
And if we look at it more like an awakening rather than a crisis, it's always a matter of perspective change. See it as an awakening, something that's like, something is awakening in me that's creating a bit of confusion, something that's like, I'm not really sure what's going on in my life. I want some more clarity around it. So in essence, what it is, it's a period of our life where we're struggling with our confidence, our identity. It could be that we're dissatisfied with our job. It could be that we are feeling a bit in our relationship. It could be that we're rehashing past decisions, right? And usually this comes at a time between 30 to 70, though admittedly it's more around 40 to 60. That is where you're aging a little bit, you're getting some white hairs, the skin is sagging, you're getting some wrinkles, you're like, okay, I'm no longer that spring chicken that I used to be.
It's different for everyone, right?
Of course.
There's no fixed age.
There's no fixed age at all. And funnily enough, they have some research around it where they said that it's only around 10 to 20% of the population that actually truly experiences a life crisis.
Interesting.
Yeah. The rest is just that they have experienced certain things in their life that, makes them feel out of sorts in essence. So it's not really a midlife crisis, but we'll come into those as well. And so what happens is that when we go through this period of transition, we feel obviously, discontentment. We have mood swings. We might even isolate ourselves. We feel anxiety. We feel restless. Could be that we feel very bored or trapped. It could also be that we have a lot of nostalgia about our past and past relationships or past jobs or past whatever it may be. And with that comes a sense of, unfulfillment.
So is it always dissatisfaction or can it also be a desire to refresh your life?
It's both. It's both, exactly that. For many people, it's not only about dissatisfaction and wanting to destroy everything that you have, but it is about wanting to feel alive again, right? So it comes as a both, which is, a beautiful question there. And so also with that comes our feelings of mortality. It's like, actually, I'm no longer as young as I used to be, and I can't jump off a cliff and come out fine and not with no broken bones. We start thinking of our mortality more during our midlife crisis, and with that comes feelings of dread. We're past our best. Our time is running out. Like
realizing
all of these,
you have fewer years ahead of you than behind you.
Yes, which is a horrible feeling to have, right? You're still young, so you don't have that. I have that, and I'm telling you, it's not funny. It's not a fun game.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and so it's okay because I'm aware of it. And like with anything in life, and we'll come to how to deal with it later
Have you
in the
hit
show.
it yet?
I don't, because I also feel like I'm going through a bit of perimenopause at the same time. I am feeling a bit like sluggish and slow, and so there are moments when I do feel it, but I don't think I'm going through a midlife crisis. I have moments where I feel pangs of, ooh, where am I in my life? Oh my God, have I gone too far? I need to do this, I need to do that. So I have those moments of anxiety, but I don't have, like let's say an ongoing feeling of dread,
Thank God,
like a
Hyesha.
depression. Yeah,
Thank
thank goodness for that. Otherwise, I don't know if I'll be able to be on the show if I was. So,
Right.
alhamdulillah, I feel blessed, but I'm aware. We have to be aware as well.
Right.
So like other questions that we may ponder on or ask, it's like, who am I now? Or is it too late to change? A lot of my clients who are a little bit elderly will be like, Hyesha, but I can't change now. I'm in my 60s, I'm in my 70s. I always will revoke that.
Is it just a preconceived notion that you can't do something past a certain age, or
Yes.
is there something within them that stops them?
It's definitely something within them, because you can have a very old 20-year-old and you can have a very young 60-year-old. So it's nothing to do with age. It's all to do with your preconceptions and all to do with your perceptions of yourself and life, and is it too late for me to change? And no, that I was reading the other day, there's a guy who's 80 years old, fit and healthy. He started running marathons.
Wow.
Amazing, and so it's never too late, but it's your mindset, right? It's like, are you willing to make that change? But a lot of people who are, I can take my parents as an example. I love them, bless them. However, they're always, I'm set in my ways, Hyesha. I'm never going to change. This is who I am. And it's like,
Yeah,
no.
some people act like life is over as soon as they're in their mid 30s.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to say, guys, no, that's not true at all, right? Other questions that we could potentially ask when we're going through this is like, have I lived my life for someone else, or have I lived my life for myself, or do I still want the life that I thought about, or what happened to the person that I used to be? Because, you're not the same person that you were a year ago, or 5
Definitely.
years ago. And so we have to constantly change that, our values, and not necessarily our values, but our goals. What do you want now that the Tukka didn't want, like let's say 1 year ago, 5 years ago?
Does it relate to women increasingly filing for divorce
Yes.
after like 20 years of marriage?
It can be, for sure. However, we need to also, we can't generalize, because let's say you've been in a relationship for 20 years. That's a long time to be with someone. Either you guys grow together, which is beautiful, or it could be, and sometimes it happens a lot more, where one partner stays stuck in their ways, doesn't want to move, doesn't want to grow, doesn't have a growth mindset, and just stays like, this is how it's always been. Why do we have to change anything? But the other partner is like, no, but I want to travel more. I want to live more. I want to do more things. And if the other partner isn't in alignment with them, then it's time to sort of refresh and rethink.
And perhaps one of them felt like they poured way too much into the relationship.
Could be
and
as well.
they became almost an extension of the other person
It could be
rather
very
than
well.
their own person.
100%. And that happens after 20 years. You become very codependent. You become enmeshed in some ways or shape or form. That's why I'm always like, guys, I love relationships, 100%. I'm in a beautiful, loving marriage myself. However, you need to do your own thing. He needs to go off with his boys. You need to go off with your girls. You need to do your own hobbies. You
Yes.
can't be together all the time, because if you are, there's too much enmeshment, too much entanglement, that if, God forbid, something does happen, we're all going to die, right? However, if something does happen sooner than we expect, we're lost. And we don't want to be lost. We want to make sure that we're centered, that we're able to be alone, not lonely, but alone. And so, yes, I'm all for beautiful relationships. However, make sure you have the best relationship with yourself.
Get a life.
Get it in some way, yes, get a life. And so, going back to what we were saying about midlife crisis, is that there's usually a trigger, okay? And the trigger could be, let's say, a significant birthday. let's say you reached 50. You're like, oh my God, I'm half a century. That's a big thing, right? Or it could be a health diagnosis. It could be hair loss. It could be white hair, as we mentioned. It could be, wrinkles, sagging skin. You can't lose the weight. And so the menopause, could be that you get reading glasses. Could be that your children are leaving home, empty nesting, right? Or it could be that your parents are aging. It could be that you're going through a divorce, or that you have some career setback. It's a trigger.
Hearing all of this, it reminds me of gender differences. Do you feel like one gender experiences it harder than the other?
So it's different in the sense that men experience it where they want to, let's say, buy faster cars, and they want to, buy things that shows off their youth, if you will. Women, it's more about...
Marry a second wife as well.
Marry a second wife, do things like that where it's a bit like, I don't know, and younger wives, right? So like an older man would probably want to go with someone who's younger. And that's when there's a little bit of a red flag right there.
Yeah.
And with women, it's more about, okay, their beauty, their longevity. How do they look? Their aesthetics. Men, not so much. Though I am hearing more and more, especially in this part of the world, which is wonderful. Men do go for Botox. Men do go for rejuvenation. Men do go for manicures, pedicures. Beautiful. I love that, because we need to rejuvenate our skin for sure. But some women are going to the extreme. Too far. And obviously not good. But to each their own, of course. However, that is a massive trigger as well when you start, pumping yourself with different things. And So, going through that, we have to realize that it is in some way, we're trying to find a resolution to our problem. We're trying to accept our new reality. Not easy, right? And so I want to go into, the 6 stages of, it's in some way grief, in some way our crisis as well. And it's similar to what we discussed beforehand with grief. So there is denial. I'm not growing old. The man's buying the sports car, wanting the younger wife, as we mentioned. We're in complete denial that we're going through this phase of our life. And usually around 45 years old, at this point, 45, 50, you're kind of midway in life where you have friends who are younger in their 30s, and you have friends who are older in their 60s. So you're kind of like, where do I fit in? Am I still young? Am I older? Like, I don't know where I am. It messes
with your head.
It messes with your head, right? And it's as long as and as we mentioned, you can be a certain age and feel young. So how do you feel inside of you? That's very, very important.
Right. So before we go any further, let's go into a quick break.
Okay, sure.
72442-007. We're accepting any of your questions on midlife crisis. We'll be right back.
Get on track with Hyesha Barrett on Jumpstart from 8 to 9 a.m.
Hello, welcome back to Jumpstart. This is Wellness Wednesday, and we're back with your host, Tuqallawati and
Hyesha Barrett.
And we're talking about midlife crisis. Just a reminder, 72442-007 is our WhatsApp number. 72442-007 if you have any questions. So let's get back into it.
Okay, so we started off by talking about the 6 stages of grief surrounding midlife crisis, which are very similar to the stages of grief in general that we go through any transition or any sadness in our life, any loss in our life. So the first one was denial, where, it's like, I'm not growing old. I refuse to accept that, refuse to believe that. Men, usually it's about buying a sports car, having a younger wife, and women, it's usually about injecting themselves, or not usually, but, at the end of the day, it is about beautifying themselves a bit more. The second stage is anger. And here it's like, okay, I'm understanding and I'm seeing the difference in myself. I'm maybe slower, or I'm looking a little bit different. So here there's feelings of frustration, right? Of not managing effectively this crisis as well. So you start feeling resentful towards other people. It could be towards younger people. It could be to people who are a bit more sprightlier than them.
So you start being mean to younger people.
You start being a little bit more mean. Yeah, like, how dare you be younger than me and prettier than me and thinner than me and all these things and have a nicer wife than me, and so you start getting angry at others for sure, and at yourself, right? And so that's the second one. The third one is you start replaying things in your life. This is where the nostalgia comes in. This is when it's like, oh gosh, if only I was younger again, I could have done this or I could have done that. And oh, in my youth, I went out with this person and I was living here and I was traveling there. And so you start thinking about all these things that you had, that you wish you had again, and you kind of want to have that even more. So you start recounting your younger years.
So do you regret what you hadn't done, or which part do you regret the most?
Nelson Mandela said a beautiful quote, which I'll always remember. In the future, you will always regret what you didn't do than what you did. And so this is a phase when we start thinking about, yes, damn it, I should have done that. Why didn't I do that? Why didn't I just go up to that person? What would I have lost? Nothing, and so I really urge and encourage people to think about this now, in your youth, even if you're older as well. It doesn't matter what you say to people. It doesn't matter what you do. Just try it. Do it. Put yourself out there. Make those mistakes, because in the future you will look back and go, gosh, if I had only done that, my life would have taken a completely different route. I would be a completely different person right now. Maybe I could have been married to that person. Maybe I would be living somewhere else. Maybe I'd be having a different job.
A big regret that I often hear is people slaving away to capitalism instead of spending more time with family and friends.
Oh, yes, that's a big one.
So it's not even fulfilling at the end of the day.
It's not fulfilling. And what are they chasing? Money. At the end of the day, and we know that money does not bring you happiness. They had a beautiful study actually with these men that they followed over 20 years. So it was quite a long study, over 100 men, and men from all walks of life. And they got to their later years, and they basically asked them, what is your main regret that you wish you could have done more of in these past 20 years? Each and every single one of them didn't say, I wish I had a better job. I wish I had, been more successful. I wish I had more money. All of them, the main underlying theme was they wish that they had spent more time with themselves and with their friends and with their family.
Definitely.
Relationships. At the end of the day, relationships is what makes us feel more fulfilled. And we talked about that last week about blue zones. One of the main thing that blue zones that they had, that they all shared in common, was community.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Very, very, very important.
We have a message from Mogd. He says,
"Hey, Mogd.
I'm glad Hyesha is back."
Hey.
And
I'm glad to hear you back, Mogd. I haven't seen you, haven't heard from you in a while.
Hi, Mogd. So he says, Tuqa and Hyesha greater than Talal and Khairika.
Oh,
okay.
Well, thanks a lot. Actually, I do miss them on the show as well. And Talal should be here today. This is literally the show for him.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
He's always shying away from these things, isn't he?
Typical Talal.
Yes.
So we have also another message from Dr. Khalid. He says, then me does not bother me.
Oh, Talal
is here. Sorry.
And he's listening in Haiti. Sorry, you were like hiding behind the scenes there.
Not sorry.
Sorry, please go ahead.
So he says, then me, as in comparison, does not bother me as much. I adapt so I can keep up or surpass. I struggle with watching my age peers fall behind when it's in their power to keep up with just me, let alone our youngers. I think myself and several of my friends are going through their crises, but a lot of us are managing it well.
Beautiful. Yes, absolutely. I love that. It's exactly what you said about, comparing. It's good to compare who we were as to who we are now. That's always great, because then we can have that sort of like data of like, oh, I was then, and now, oh, Talal's coming.
Intruder.
Talal, how dare you intrude the show? That's very rude of you.
You're not allowed here.
You guys are the ones attacking me. I feel like I should have a say in this matter.
Oh, Talal's on the show.
Show is about me.
He's joining us.
Can you guys hear me? Do you have my mic on?
Yes.
Okay. So,
Hey,
first off, you guys could not see me, and yet you're. Tuqa, what have I ever done to you?
I'm just a hater.
It feels that way. Wow.
Why are you on the show? You're disrupting the show now.
You were the ones who said my name. You're like, this show is for Talal, and Talal could use this show. Okay, I'm here.
Mogd says he needs to pay participation fee. Agreed.
Yes. How much shall we charge Mogd? Oh, wait, I have to
you.
buy. Oh,
not
man.
Mogd, you.
Okay, I will give you nothing. But midlife crisis, huh?
Yes, midlife crisis.
I'm not there yet.
No?
No.
Do you feel
Gonna get there, though. I'm gonna get there.
I feel like you're on your way there, Talal.
See, I will be honest. Yes. One of the reasons I do believe I'm gonna have a midlife crisis is because whenever I'm not working and whenever I don't have anyone to take care of, so like my son, my wife, people at work, then I have no idea what to do.
What about yourself?
What do you mean?
Where are you in this equation? That's the whole thing that we were just talking about now. The whole point of a midlife crisis is that, okay, yes, everything around you might crumble, but you have to be able to be, steadfast in your ways. Are you?
I mean, well, steadfast. I am steadfast.
Okay.
Like, I'm very consistent.
Okay.
Okay. I know exactly what to do. I'm a doer. I make things happen. But it's just like when they have nothing to do and I have no idea what to do.
So do you need people to tell you what to do?
No, I know what to do.
Okay.
For other people. I know what to do for work, So I get things done again. But at the moment I have, the moment I'm home, my kid's out, let's say my wife is out, I've done all the work for the day, there's no unanswered messages on my phone, there's no unanswered emails, and I just sit there and I have no clue where to go next.
Okay.
So I'll just sit there. Like one time I sat in the darkness at home, like the sun had set, and I was just sitting there for like an hour and a half.
Crying.
And what? It was very relaxing, actually. And my family walk in to complete darkness in the house, and then they just hear a voice. They're like, "Hello, family." But that's why I think I'm gonna have a midlife crisis, because I'm gonna get to a point and realize who am I? What am I? And
who are you without all the things around you? Exactly.
Yeah.
Who are you, Talal, without all the things around you?
That's my
without
fear.
All these labels.
So that's why I'm saying I'm going to reach a point where there is going to be a midlife crisis. Yeah. Because I haven't figured myself out yet, because I've been too busy doing everything. So yeah. Well, what should I do, Hyesha?
Well, we'll come into the things of what we should do. But one thing that springs out 100% is you need to find things that you enjoy doing, so that when you are alone, you're not like, I'm stuck doing nothing right now. What do you enjoy doing that's not apart from the family? That's apart from work. What does Talal like to do, in terms of hobbies, in terms of relaxation?
That's the thing. Zero hobbies. So I was considering taking up fishing. It's too hot, but but it was just like my whole family, all of my friends, they're all trying to say, Talal, do something for yourself. Talal, you need to find something. Talal, do something. And they get very annoyed. They're like, Talal, you choose what you want to eat tonight. Talal, you choose. And I'm like, no, it's not. And I'm very stubborn, so I end up winning, where they have to choose where we're going or what we're going to eat or da-da-da. And they're like, well, why don't you just tell us what you want? I don't know what I want. She told me right now, Japanese or Italian or biryani. I could not choose for myself.
Mark thinks you should explore your feminine side.
No, that's a good idea.
I will ask you more as an expert, Magd, after the show, inshallah. I'll ask you all about your experience.
Because Magd is so in touch with his feminine side, isn't he?
Yeah. I feel that he is.
Yeah?
Okay. He's
and that's beautiful.
Big fan of Wellness Wednesday,
Yay.
So, yeah.
But he has a point there, because the thing is, you are very masculine. It is true. Not in a good way.
Oh.
Yes, in a
too
sort
much
of
man, huh?
Yeah, too much man, too much of a machoism that is not good.
Yeah, no.
Right, and so being more in touch with your feminine side, your fluid side, your creative side, your fun side, your sort of laisser-aller faire, like just chill side.
My c'est la vie side.
Exactly, yes, que sera side, right? But you don't have that. You're always on it, like logical, left-brained, come on, analyze, get things done, achieve.
I mean, it doesn't sound that bad when you put it like that. Thanks, Hyesha. I'll take your lesson. Appreciate it very much. You can find this episode later on our SoundCloud.manafam.1. Talal out.
Good.
Thank you, Talal, for your sob
good.
story.
Finally, he's
we'll
leaving.
Go into a quick break. We'll be right back.
Get on track with Hyesha Barrett on Jumpstart from 8 to 9 a.m.
Hello, welcome to Jumpstart. This is Wellness Wednesday, and we're back with Tuqa Alawati and Hyesha Barrett. We're talking about midlife crisis. So we also have a question coming in from this person. He says, what part of a person's identity is most likely to break down in midlife?
It's a good question as well, but we also have to think about the fact that a midlife, as we mentioned, it's a transition, it's an awakening. We all go through it in some way, shape or form. So if we can reframe it to think, okay, it's not necessary that we're breaking down, but we're just transitioning, we're moving through. But to answer your question, it's somewhere along the lines of achievement identity, which is very, very common, where a lot of people think that, oh, I haven't achieved my success, or I haven't achieved my career goals, or I haven't achieved this certain status or an accomplishment. And so that is one identity crisis that we do go through. Could be that you're not married at a certain age and all of your friends are marrying. You know, it could be that your friends around you have babies at this point and you're like, oh my God, what's happening with me? And so a comparison game always is a killer of many, many things. But that is one identity crisis that we can go through. Another one is that a role crisis. It could be where, you know, you've lived your life as a mother, or you feel that's all that you are, as a mother or a parent or a wife or a provider or a daughter or whatever it may be. And you're like, is this it? Is this the only thing that I can be, I can achieve, I can provide? And so that also allows you to think, well, you know, you have a bit of a crisis around that. Could be also professionally, where you've kind of reached the top of your ladder and you can't grow from there. I see that a lot as well. Youth, as we mentioned as well, you know, you're losing your youth. Who am I? Am I still young? Am I old now? You know, so around that as well, it can create a lot of disconnect.
Yeah, I read a beautiful quote about this. It says the first half of life is about becoming who you needed to be to survive, and the second half is about unraveling everything that no longer aligns with your soul's purpose. And that's not a midlife crisis, but rather a rebirth.
Beautiful.
I love that.
And absolutely, yes. And if we can always view our life as being reborn, I think that's wonderful. Like what everyone says, like you only live once. I completely disagree. You only die once. You are living every single day. You have the opportunity every single day to be reborn, to choose different things, to create a life that you want, to create your opportunities, right? But if we're of the mindset of like, oh, I'm just going to die eventually one day, what's the point? Of course, we're just going to live in accordance with that. So I would really encourage everyone to realize that, yes, you only die once and you live absolutely every single day. So take those opportunities.
Absolutely.
As scary as they are, but you will not regret it. You will not regret it long term.
And what do you say to someone who feels like they're becoming a bit lazy, they don't want to do anything special? This is a question from Ahmed al-Mahrouqi. He also says, good morning, Hyesha.
Good morning, Ahmed. Well, the thing is, I mean, I know you, I don't know you that well, Ahmed, but what I know of you, you are such an achiever. You have beautiful camels, you have wonderful farms, you have so many things going on for you. So for you to say that you're lazy and that you don't have anything going on for you, I would like to dispute that. However, we need to be curious about this feeling, of course. If you are feeling a little bit of this tiredness, of this laziness, is it something else that's underneath? Are you stressed about something? Are you burnt out about something else? Is there a point where you think, okay, is this all I have in my life, you know? So, or are you feeling overwhelmed? So get curious to the understanding of why you are feeling lazy.
Yeah.
But don't ask questions like, what's wrong with me? Or, you know, like, why am I so lazy? But maybe we can reframe it and ask things like, you know, if I had all the energy in the world, if I wasn't lazy, if I had all the confidence in the world, what would I be doing right now? So it's kind of like a perspective shift, because then the answer that comes up from that will give you clues on really what's getting in your way. You know, so just ask different questions. Why am I so lazy is not a very empowering question, but asking the questions, asking it along the lines of, it's pretty much the same question, but it's asked it in reverse. If I wasn't lazy and if I had all the energy, what would I be doing right now? And that can give you more insight.
Definitely.
So yeah, shall we continue? I'm aware of time.
Okay, let's get into the 6 steps.
Yes. So we went through the 3. The 4th one, excuse me, is the depression phase, where we start realizing that stage 3 will never come back. And stage 3 is, sorry, I just had to do a little cough there. Was the replay. And depression, I don't want to say that it's very different to depression, okay? Because depression is a mental disorder. So I you know, anyone who is going through depression, please, please, please reach out to a counselor, a coach, a therapist, someone who can really help you, because those are, it's you know, it is a condition. It's a mental health disorder, but a midlife crisis is very different. You know, it may share the same symptoms where you have difficulty concentrating, you might have insomnia, you might have impulsivity, maybe, you know, like so many different things. It's so many things that relate to it. You may isolate, but depression is very, very different. Okay. So the fifth stage is depression, where you do realize that it's not going to come back. You're not going to get your youth back. And so you start kind of living in a bit of in a fantasy world. And this is what we mentioned about men, you know, potentially going on with younger wives, or buying a faster car, or changing their job, or doing many, many things that sometimes you think they're questionable. The fifth stage is withdrawal. You start distancing yourself, you start distracting yourself, you start numbing yourself, you start avoiding things. And I also want to relate to a few things as well that we mentioned about the questions that we had earlier as well. Some people might not ask these questions at all. Some people might just numb out. Some people just want to just do nothing, you know, and just sit on the couch and just eat potato chips and just literally zone out. And so that is also a sign as well that you're trying to avoid anything and everything in your life. So if you guys are scrolling a lot, and I know it's become part and parcel of daily life now to scroll, but if you're scrolling way too much, more than, let's say, 20 minutes, half an hour, and it goes into hours, please start making a change, because that is not, you know, it's very detrimental.
How convenient, because we have a question regarding that.
Okay.
It says, do you think social media has made midlife crisis worse by constantly exposing us to alternate life paths?
Oh, yes. It's made life worse in so many ways, you know, comparison games, making us realize that we're so far behind, but the thing is as well, I don't want to like only crush social media, because it's a beautiful way and a beautiful platform, and it's connecting so many of us worldwide as well. The way that we use it is important. Don't scroll like for hours on end. Only follow the people who will give you value and serve you. Don't scroll on the people that will make you feel bad about yourself and bad about your life. Get inspiration from social media, not demotivation.
There are so many empowering pages out there that you can follow.
There absolutely are. So yes, I don't want to diss it. I use social media myself, you know, but I don't use it to compare to other things. I use it to inspire myself and to motivate myself.
Yeah, I mean, it comes with a package that you compare yourself. You can't help it, but to be more intentional definitely helps.
100%. So shall we move on to how to deal with midlife crisis and how we can help ourselves? So the first thing, guys, is definitely do not panic, right? Do not blow up your life and think, okay, halas, that's it. I'm leaving my marriage. I'm leaving my job. You know, everything feels urgent. You know, I'm moving country. I'm changing everything. No. You know, sometimes change is needed for sure. However, big decisions made from panic often create more pain and more panic. So the thing that you need to do is first regulate yourself. We always talk about regulation. You know, regulate your nervous system before analyzing your life. You know, if you need to do some grounding work, some breath work, take a holiday, whatever it may be, just take some time off for yourself, and then everything you will get more clarity, right? So get some deep life reflection, like a life audit as well. But make sure as well you are up leveling all of the basics. Good sleep, enough sunlight, walking, breathing, hydration, protein, less caffeine, less scrolling. All of these things will help you as well to boost your immunity, get your vitamins in, whatever it may be. That's the basics. If you need to work out, get a good support system, do all of these things first, because that will help you to become less stressed, more in your body, more connected, and more like, okay, I'm okay. Yeah. I'm okay. I don't have to like overhaul my whole life, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing we need to also realize is that identify what is in your control and identify what isn't in your control. Very, very important as well, to become more empowered about things. What can you control in your life? What can't you control in your life? Is it that there are certain people in your life that you don't feel good around? Okay, great. Get rid of them. Is it that you don't enjoy your job and you haven't enjoyed your job for many, many years now? Okay, great. Start reassessing that. Are you in a marriage, a loveless marriage, where you feel like drained and, whatever it may be? Reassess that. Talk to your partner. Be open. Work on your communication. Very, very important to have a life audit, because usually, as well with midlife crises, is that they don't come about like that. As we mentioned, it's a trigger. Something has happened and it's an ongoing thing that's happening in your life. It's a pattern that you have to break. It's an interruption. But how do you break patterns? By realizing, becoming aware of them. And once you realize you're going through that pattern, I always like to view it as a traffic light. So say you're in green, you're living your life, you're happy, but you start feeling, a little bit coming out of sorts. You're going from green into amber. Before you hit red, don't wait to red to try and change anything. It will not work. You're in fight or flight at that moment in time. Make sure that you're in green going into amber, where you can have the tools and the techniques to change. That's, again, coming back to regulation. That's when clarity comes into play. When you're in red, it's like all systems go. It's just not possible. Okay?
We have a beautiful message from Christopher Lobo.
Hey, Christopher.
Good morning.
Good morning.
He says, good morning, Mr. Talal and Team 90.4.
He's not here. Don't say hello to him. I'm joking.
He sent in a song request. We'll check if we have it in the system.
Perfect.
He says, I suggest to relieve one's depression a little bit. Can help if they listen to you guys on 90.4. It really will help. That's so sweet.
So sweet, Christopher.
And he adds that most importantly, avoid negative people.
Very, very, very important.
Agreed.
That is extremely, extremely draining. And I know not easy to do at times, especially if they're family members or if they're in your close-knit circle. But there's always a big but to that. You can change if you want to change. You have to enforce those boundaries around you. Not easy to do, because other people will be like, what's wrong with Hyesha? Why is she changing? Why is she no longer hanging out with us? But they will eventually learn that khalas. It's you're choosing you.
Yeah.
It's always about choosing yourself, guys. Okay, so the next thing that we can also do with how to deal with midlife crisis is, as we mentioned, definitely prioritize self-care and self-love. Do more mindfulness, do more meditations, maybe more stretching. It could be yoga, Pilates, moving your body. Your health is your wealth. Very, very, very important. Talking about it is also key. A lot of us who go through midlife crisis feel very embarrassed. Like, I'm 40, 45, 50, 55. I don't want to talk about it with anyone. No one will understand me. Talking about it with the right people, it could be with a professional or it could be even with your support system, is very important.
But I wonder where that's coming from, because, I'm not there yet. So I don't know what the thought process is. Why would it feel embarrassing?
Well, because you're not there yet. Once you get there, Tuka, we can have this conversation again. But, you're still a very young spring chicken. But once you get to, as they say, you reach your 30s, you reach your 40s, your body isn't as functioning as it used to be. You don't sleep very well. You're hearing your knees crack. You're seeing lots of white hairs. You no longer feel the person that you used to be. The person in the mirror is no longer reflecting the person who you think you are. And so it gets a little bit disheartening.
Yeah, and maybe if you take pride in your strength and this front that you put up, it's going to feel very puzzling, disorienting.
Yes, 100%. And there is where we have to change. There is where we have to go, okay, there's a front that I'm putting up right now. What do I need to do in order to make sure that I don't have this front anymore and I return back to myself? And I believe that that's what life is about, actually, returning back to who we are meant to be, because we lost ourselves along the way. And coming back to what your quote said, the first part of our life is conditioning, it's patterning, it's survival, it's doing the things for other people. But the next part of our life is actually letting go of all those patterns, letting go, shedding our skin, if you will, shedding all of our old beliefs and going, okay, who am I in this part of my life? Who am I for me? Not for you, not for society, not for culture, but for me. And that's a beautiful way of looking at the next phase of our life. That's something to look forward to. And at the same time, we have to make sure that we are up-leveling our health, that we don't destroy and numb and distract in our early years, which a lot of us do, Me included. My God, when in my 20s, if I compare, if me in my 40s now looking back in my 20s, I would have a lot to say to my 20-year-old. Don't do this, don't do that, But I had to go through that. And I'm glad I went through that, because that made me the person I am today. And, I've realized certain things that I need to let go of. No regrets at all. So what else can we do? We can, we can ask ourselves better questions. Okay, so instead of asking what's wrong with me, which is a big question that a lot of us ask, it's like ask more curious questions. What am I craving? What have I abandoned in myself all these years? What part of my life feels dishonest and honest? What part of me feels very performed? What am I no longer willing to carry? These are beautiful questions that we can ask ourselves that are very self-reflective, and think, okay, these are the things that I've been doing for others, but what do I no longer want to have for myself, right? Decluttering the old. Very, very important. I just had a client yesterday, actually, we were talking about decluttering. Not only is it wonderful to declutter your environment, your home, where you're living, your bedroom, your workspace, but decluttering things that are no longer serving you. It's beautiful, because once you declutter the things, the old cobwebs, if you will, that's when you allow new things to come into your life. New things cannot come into your life when you have too much dust everywhere, when you've closed those doors. Open those doors and let people come in. Let new things come in, Yeah. Other things that we can do is that, revisiting our values. Our values are very important. And sometimes when we reach a certain age in our life, we kind of have our outdated values that are running the show. So reassess them. Again, it's a life audit. Maybe success used to mean achievement to you, but now it means actually peace. Maybe you want to go and take a year sabbatical and go and live in the rainforest. Maybe love used to mean sacrifice, but now it actually means honesty. Maybe now it means you need to be more open. It could be that maybe parenting used to mean control to you, but now it actually means connection. So values evolve, and life
could mean not being afraid of being labeled selfish.
Yes,
just for attending to your needs.
100%. And labels are massive. We live by our labels. I'm a parent. I'm a coach. I do this. I'm that. No. Who am I in my core? I'm kind. I'm present. I'm connected. And when I look at those values, then I can start seeing what else I can bring into my life that surrounds those values. Not just me as a parent, not just me as a daughter or a wife, and then it opens up to a plethora of information and not only information, but things that you can do, opportunities. And we're limitless at that point. We're not limited. So it's very, very important to do that. Bringing back play is also very, very key. We reach a certain age in our life where we're adults now. I shouldn't be playing. I shouldn't be doing the things that little children do. However, play is so important. And play doesn't have to be something silly where, you think, okay, people are going to judge me. It could be just going around kicking a ball, football season right now. It could be, if you like to play games, fantastic, do that. Board games are wonderful. Even getting on the floor playing with a dog, these things are great to just bring about your inner child.
Anything, that makes you feel like a little kid again.
Yeah, and I'm all about inner child. We have to come back to the things that we used to enjoy when we were children, but we stopped doing as adults. Because when we start doing that, not only do we feel more revived, but we feel more connected to ourselves. Actually, that's a point that we can also mention to Talal as well, that he mentioned earlier, that he's always giving and giving to others, but he feels, he doesn't know what to do when he's alone. To connect your inner child, what did you do when you were younger that you enjoyed doing that you can bring back to now?
Yeah.
Very, very, very important. It could be painting, it could be poetry. It could be, whatever it may be, but something
comic books, or even having the same snacks you used to when you were younger.
Yes,
small things.
Yeah, small things, or even smelling, things that we had when we were younger really, really helps us as well. A few other things. I'm aware of time. We've got 4 minutes left. We need to stop also romanticizing escape. That's one thing that a lot of us do. Like, okay, I'm just going to break free and I'm just going to do something completely different. No, 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 no. It's not about escaping your life. It's actually, you know, it's finally coming back to listening to what you really, really want. Repairing relationships instead of blaming them. Very important. A lot of us reach a certain age and go, okay, I'm never going to speak to that person ever again. I'm not going to let things go. But, you know, midlife can make people project their inner dissatisfaction onto their partner, onto their children, onto their family. But before deciding that they are the problem, just start asking questions like, what part of me have I stopped taking responsibility for? This is a big one for me. A friend of mine, my best friend, actually, we were best friends for a long, long, long time. And something happened a few years ago and we kind of stopped talking. And I miss her. I miss her, you know, I miss what we had. I miss who I was. I miss that. And so I just took it upon myself and I messaged her the other day and I was like, I miss you. I really would love to have what we had back, you know. And instantly she melted and she was just like, oh, I miss you too, you know. Yeah. All it takes is one person to just go back.
It's worth eroding your ego for.
Exactly, you know, but a lot of us are driven by our ego. A lot of us are like, no, she was the one who made the mistake. She has to say sorry to me. Yeah. You know, I'm blaming you. No, you know, who's hurting? You're hurting. Short. Life is too short. 100%. One more thing that we can do as well is that, you know, look at your childhood patterns. Very, very, very important. Midlife often wakes up the inner child, right, as we mentioned. And that part was never seen, never felt, never chosen, never felt safe. And so this is a beautiful time when you can actually open up what could have been and giving yourself what you needed back then that you didn't get. One thing that is key and instrumental to inner child healing is that we often expect others to provide us what we needed, what we wanted, what we didn't get back then. But the only person who can give you that is yourself. And so working on yourself, again, coming back to the self-reflection, coming back to the life audit is extremely, extremely important. Okay, guys? So I want us to reflect on one last thing, is that maybe midlife is not the beginning of the end, but maybe it is the first time that we are old enough, we're honest enough, and we're tired enough to stop performing a life that was never actually fully
What
ours.
about a midlife crisis? I feel like that's what I have. I'm 25. Is it much different in terms of the thought process?
Do you
patterns?
think you have a quarter life crisis right now?
I think so. Do you think we should explore that in another
Yes, I think we should.
Show, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so we're concluding this show. Make sure you tune in to our SoundCloud page. We're going to have the full episode. 72442-007. Thank you so much, Hyesha,
My
for
pleasure.
today. And we'll see you in...
I'll be back at the end of August.
Okay, so
I'm taking my time off, to enjoy my midlife crisis.
All right, have a safe trip, Hyesha. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.